G'day and welcome back to Buildsum, and in this video we're going to keep going with our calculating the area of a trench. So in the last video we used the average depth method, and as I said it's not the most accurate method, but it gets you in the ballpark. But in this video we're going to look at something called Simpson's Rule, and it's going to help us get a more accurate calculation of the area under our surface and in our trench. So you can see we've got exactly the same trench as the average depth video, got all the measurements there. But to apply Simpson's Rule, we need to identify some points. Okay, so first thing with the Simpson's Rule refers to a length. And when it refers to a length, it's talking about the length of each of our sections. Not the entire length of the trench, like average depth, just the length of each one of our sections. So L is the length of one of our sections. Simpson's Rule also needs to know the first reading that we need to consider, which is this one here, and it also needs to know the last reading. So they have to be picked out separately. And then for the rest of the readings, it really just goes with odds and evens. So obviously, first reading would be an odd, but we're going to keep that as first. Second one's even, odd, even, etc. Okay, so that's the points we have to identify for Simpson's Rule. Okay, so that is the formula for Simpson's Rule. So what it is, it's the length divided by 3 times the first and the last height added together. Then we add 2 times the sum of all our odds. So we take all our odd readings and we add them together, and then we'll times them by 2. And then we have to add the sum of all our evens, so times by 4. So 4 times the sum of all our evens, all our even points, and times that by 4. Okay, so let's have a go at doing that. Okay, so 5, which is the length of one of our sections, divided by 3, which is what Simpson's Rule says, okay, times our first reading, which is in this case 0.750, plus our last reading, which in this case is 1.169. Alright, we'll do that in a minute. Then 2 times all our odd readings. So 1.117, 0.963, 0.544, and 0.744. Alright, we add them together, then we're going to times them by 2. And all our even readings, so we add up all our evens, alright, and we're going to times that by 4 at the end. Okay, so let's keep working through that. So if we add our first and last together, we get 1.9. Oh, sorry, I'll start at the start. So 5 divided by 3 gives us 1.667. First and last RL, or first and last reading, added together gives us 1.919. Alright, if we add all these readings together, we get 3.368. And if we add all these readings together, we get 4.51. Sorry, 4.551. Okay, we've still got to times that by 4, we've still got to times this by 2. So we'll do that in the next step. Okay, so that's the same, that stays the same. 2 times 3.368 gives us 6.736, and 4 times 4.551 gives us 18.204. Alright, so these now get added together. Okay, this gives us 26.859, times that by our original number here, 1.667, and we get a total area for this trench of 44.774 square meters using Simpson's Rule. So just as a comparison, when we did the average depth method on the same trench, we ended up with 44.718. So we were slightly under, and as I said, that's because of the fact that when we do average depth, we're not allowing for the curve of the ground. So we're close in the ballpark, but not spot on. Okay, so that's why we're better off using Simpson's Rule if we have an even number of sections to our trench. Okay, so now we know the area of our trench. Obviously we can work out the volume. So area times by the width of the trench, so 44.774 times by, let's say the trench is 5 metres wide, gives us a total volume of 22.387 cubic metres of material to be removed out of that trench. So there you go. That's how we use Simpson's Rule to calculate the area and then the volume of soil that we would remove from a trench.
G'day, I'm back. Just to let you know that if you like this video, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or you can follow me on Facebook so you don't miss out on more great videos.